Hey everybody, welcome back to the old school. You asked for it, so you're gonna get it. Another step-by-step video. I got a great model today. I love his bleached hair, and basically what he said to me is, I like it kind of punk rocky. He's got a great vibe. I love the way he dresses. So I do not know exactly what I'm gonna make, but I'm gonna show you that a haircut can be very versatile. Remember, I'm a Dutchie, right? Versatile. Well, you know what I mean. So I want to keep length, so he will be able to put it in a slick back, a pompadour. But I also want to add a lot of texture because, you know, for his work he has to kind of slick it back, but for daily life he wants it to be able to move around. So it's going to be interesting, and I'm going to start by dividing the hair in different panels, which I'm going to connect later. So here we go. Taking out the water. Okay, Jelle just told me versatile.
Versatile.
Versatile. It's going to be a very versatile haircut. Damn. As you can tell, there is a lot of cowlicks, different ways of growing, but I like that because it kind of makes the hair unique, and I got to work with that uniqueness. And again, I never cut the gentleman before, so I have no idea what's going to come out, but just the way the growth is already tells me it's going to be a super cool haircut. Now, for all the barbers that go like, oh, I don't like that hairdressery shit with all the partings, you got to see it like this. If you do not exactly know what you're going to do, I mean, this is not going to be your standard, you know, low fade or high fade. No, you really want to work with length, and sectioning is the best way to kind of make a map of the country. Yeah, you're making it easier on yourself because you go from part to part to part. And it's really not that hard, because what I did is started with the parietal ridge, took out a triangle in the front, right? I really like this triangle. That is where your pompadour is, that's where your slick back is. This is literally the triangle that when you face somebody, that's the haircut you're gonna see, right? Then, took out a little square, like a diamond, because that is the crown area. Always be careful with the crown area. And then, from where the ear is attached, I took a little piece of hair here. I don't want to go too short there because I want to be able to slick it back, but also for him to wear it in a textured way. Yeah? So what I'm going to do here is basically what I always do. Yeah? I'm going to stand right behind my first section. I'm going to lift all this hair up. Now normally I would do this with clippers, but since I want to leave it a little bit longer, I'm going to use scissors, right? And as you can tell, I'm pulling the hair out, see? Straight out of the parting. That is the trick. So when you position your body right behind your work, you can never go wrong with that first section. Leaving length. See, and moving my body with that parting. Now, by lifting all that hair up, you already get your, what's the word, degrading line. So by lifting it, you're going to keep length around the outlines, the perimeter, yeah? I'm going to use that first baseline as my guide, and I'm going to use a point cutting technique. See, because I lifted all the hair, you get that line going slightly longer into that nape area, which I'm going to refine using a point cutting technique. Now, if you watch carefully, you can see that even though I am using point cutting. See, I'm kind of using that line as a guide. I'm going in quite deep, but I'm using that outline as a guide for that point cutting. So creating texture, but also creating a straight line. Good point cutting means you're in control of the line you're cutting. Yeah, so take it straight out of the skin, comb it on your fingers, flattening it. By using this point cutting technique, I really bring out the color. See, it's an old bleach. He has his roots, but I kind of want to make the roots and the color work. So a lot of texture, yeah, and you can already see what the color is doing here. When you slice, when the hair is still wet, be a little bit careful. On the other hand, I like the feeling of slicing through the hair when it's wet because you got a lot of control. When you use the tips of your finger, you feel exactly how much hair you're taking off. Yeah? Continue. So you reach the occipital bone. Taking out weight, weight, weight. Yes? Moving into this front panel. Which you want to keep some length, but reduce a lot of weight. Is that the right expression? Reduce? No. Remove a lot of weight. You'll see what I mean. Yeah? So I want to keep this length, so I want to be able to slick my haircut back, yes, but I also wanted to gradually slide into the previous cut hair in the nape area. So, I got my guideline right behind the ear, pulling it slightly back. See, you want to have that nice flow into that nape area. Up. Yeah, make sure that you keep checking with your water for balance and flow. What I find super important when you do a haircut is that when a client comes back and he tells you, Rob, or whatever your name is, I don't know what you did, but it was so easy to manage. That's when you gave a great haircut, right? And this is all by looking at the hair throughout the haircut. What does it want to do? Where does it want to go? How am I going to make it as easy as possible for my patron? Okay, I'm gonna do exactly the same on the other side, yeah? Continue taking sections. Taking them straight out of the skin. And very loosely connect. See, I'm taking quite big sections, but by using the white teeth of my comb, see, there is an actual guideline. Follow. Guide. Texture, leaving length. Continue till no hair is left. Now I fully realize that this is not your standard pompadour, you know, clipper over comb, boom, boom. This is a way more loose way working. But honestly, when I'm working in the shop, you know, there's gonna be, even when you look at the shop right now, you can tell there is a lot of fading and tapering going on. Yeah. It's what I do all day long too, you know, pompadour, slick backs. So when somebody comes in that wants something different, more loosely, for me those are the cherries on the pie, you know, because I got to think a little bit differently and bringing back some techniques that I used to do back in the days. But to stay creative, these are the kind of haircuts you want to keep on doing. You want to keep changing your approach to a certain haircut. Okay, I'm gonna repeat exactly the same steps on the other side. Nog even een chipje. Vet. Hey! Next step. We're going to take a little section through the crown area, and pretty much the point of that triangle in the front is guiding me to where to take that section. Yes? Lifting it up. Guide. Take a section next to it. Double check your line. Till no hair is coming off. Okay, we got one panel left, right in the front here. So I want to keep length, but I want it to be able to move. So again, take a section throughout the middle. And use that previous length as a guide up to that length in the front. Yes, continue that same process. And again, see, section, know where your body is throughout the haircut, yeah? See, no tension on the shoulders, no tension on the elbows, no tension on the wrists. Section, but always be relaxed with your body, yeah? And look for that previous cut line. Now I slightly over directed to the middle to keep that concave shape. And very loosely connect. Now my model has some really, really great hair. It's really thick, it's got nice movement, but because of the bleaching, the structure has changed, yeah? So I wouldn't use the point cutting technique. Well, I would always use the technique, but I can go a little bit more wild on the model's hair because you know, it's really firm, the hair. If the hair is a little bit finer, you can use the same technique, but just don't go in as deep as I'm doing right now. Okay, so at this point, your haircut, when you check in the mirror, you should already have like a good feeling about it. Now, I like it that the haircut's still kind of wide, so not too short on the sides. And there is a lot of rock and roll action in the front. You know, I'm really getting this straight cat vibe. You know, Brian Setzer in his early days, when he went out to rock this town with his hair piled high. I really, really like that. But I also like the fact that you can still turn it into a nice, classic look. See, the model here has this nice wave in the front that we can really use for it. Yeah? So what I'm going to do now is, I'm going to dry the hair. Now I know there is still a lot of work to do, outlines and everything. I want to go short, but I really want to kind of sculpt the hair into, well, what we agree upon. Yeah, so I want it easy to manage, short enough that he doesn't have to come back within a week. Yeah, but definitely a style to suit his personality. Here we go. When we do these videos, I get a lot of, in the comments, people go like, oh, yeah, it looks good, but how are they going to do it at home the next day? I find that the most important thing in a haircut. If you give somebody a haircut, you cannot reproduce at home, it's a shitty haircut. So when I'm drying, I'm using my fingers and I'm using the natural fold combined with gravity. Yeah, gravity is pretty much the force that wants to pull the hair down. So you don't want to force it into a direction. So when I dry, watch my hands, yeah? See? I'm just gonna... I dry the hair. Godverdomme, kudding. To all the Dutch, I'm really sorry. See, I really dry the hair where it wants to go. So I lift it up. And I let it go where it wants to go, right? Because if you can do it with your hands, you can pretty much guarantee that your client can do it at home the next day. All my barber friends, a haircut is all very, very personal. And I know that some of you right now are like, oh man, you gotta fade it out. Please, be my guest, but I hope you appreciate the basic shape of the cut. So if you want to start fading right now, it's all good. The haircut would look good with a fade too. But what I really like is that there is a little bit of hair left to really put your signature into the cut. So what I'm gonna do is I am gonna go shorter, but I'm not gonna go short, right? I want the hair to be able to move. See, taking out length, weight, and bulk. See, you really lift the hair up, slowly move your comb through. And look at the way the hair is coming out between the teeth of your comb. See, what I like is how that blonde flows into that nape area. I really, really like that look. Moving into the sides. See that descending line by over directing it into the nape area. That's why I still got some weight left. Now I like that because when I slick it back, see, there's gonna be fenders that's gonna be supporting that slick back. But I want it to be able to move as fluent as possible. So using the same technique, lifting the hair up, make sure you comb it through thoroughly. Weight and bulk. See, knowing where your body is throughout the haircut. Don't put any pressure on your wrists. Right, and once you set in the right weight, you kind of slide your scissors through. Give it movement into the back. See the little curly area here? I'm gonna go a little shorter there because of that curl, because the hair implant is usually quite fine around the temple area. So I'm just gonna go a little shorter over there. Yeah? Taking out that bulky feeling of it. See, cleaning up that outline a little bit. I am going to clean up the outline a little bit, but instead of just going super short, you know, I want the haircut to look like we're going to shoot a music video, right? So I like those little parts. I don't want to have a clean cut look, right? I don't want to take the Punkrock out of the haircut. I'm going to continue using different texturizing techniques to take out bulk and add movement and texture. See how thick the hair is? I mean, I point cut it the whole thing, but I'm even going to take out more hair. But always make sure that it still flows. Ja? Don't take the flow out of the cut. Kun je dat zien hier? Ja, hè? See, it's textured, but there's a flow. I want it to be able to move. Like Jagger. I absolutely love this part of the haircut. I mean, every haircut I do, I always start with the base, like a sketch, but this is really where you draw into the haircut. This is where you put your signature into the haircut. This is where you make a haircut absolutely unique. So, when you move to the hair on top, see, the trick is, and again, this is a lot of hair, so I want to keep enough length to slick it back. But what I really like is, by using this technique, see, you're creating this texture. So I'm really looking for that perfect length, that there's a lot of movement going on, but on the other hand, see, there is enough length to play with, to pump it up, yeah? So right now, it is really what you see is what you get. You gotta find that perfect length. So, flip. And again, take out hair. Really mess up those lengths. This is really gonna work super nice with the bleached hair. Because normally when you cut the bleached hair, and especially when it has roots, you gotta be very careful not to go too chunky in the hair. So like super blunt lines, because you're gonna see those lines in the color. So we wanna add a lot of texture here. If you want, you can kind of, you know, there are so many techniques to put texture in hair. Just kind of use your favorite one. See, if you wanna go, use the highlight technique and put some really short hairs in between, it's really gonna push the hair up. So that is a nice one. Just make sure there's movement, but without having those chunky parts in the bleached hair, yeah? Okay, using my freehand technique, this is my personal, I think every barber hairdresser has their own little tricks. Well, if there is one trick, that's mine, it's the knuckle duster. Yeah, so what I'm doing is looking for weight, looking for bulk, bringing that weight between my fingers, following the natural shape of the skull, and blending that hair in. See? The hair that wants to come off, just jump in between my fingers. And that's how I blend it in. See, I love that texture that's going on there. No matter where you comb it with your fingers, see, it's still long enough to go flat, but there's so much going on. And I really love how the haircut makes the color work. It is an old color, there are roots, but by using the right texture, those roots are actually working for me. Okay. Cleaning up these final outlines, leaving a little bit of length, going a little shorter here in the nape area to keep it square. Now, of course, normally I taper 99% of my haircuts, but with this particular haircut, I actually kind of like to put in a bit of a blunt line, slightly soften it up. Just a little fiber gel, and I'm going to use to blow dry a little bit more. Not too much, this is quite strong, but what I like about the fiber gel, when you blow dry it, it gets kind of dry-ish, which makes the hair easier, even easier to handle. So, okay, so here's my final result. I'm not going to put in too much product yet because Jelle and me want to take some nice shots of the haircut outside so you can see what it looks like in daily life instead of just here in the barbershop. But as you can tell, there is a nice movement. Yeah, there is enough length to do a slick back, to do, you know, go wherever you want with the hair. But I left length to play with, but I also put in a lot of different textures so the hair is able to move around. My client is an artist, so I really love that the hair goes with the profession, man. It is, you know, a haircut is not something you take from a book or a poster and put in somebody's head. It's not a candle. You really, the longer I've been doing hair, the more I find out it's not just the hair, it's the client and how a certain haircut fits the client. And the longer I work, that is where my focus is. So I hope you enjoyed the class. We're gonna shoot some nice photos outside so you can see what the haircut does. See you next time.